Say there, Kev, that appears to be a Gen 9 OU battle on your screen. What gives? Where are the old gens? You are asking yourself. And to that I say, well observed, kind viewer. But as much as I love my old generations, the psychology degree in me reminds me on occasion to have new experiences for the broadening of the mind, lest one become enclosed in the potentially venomous circle of one's own preconceived notions. And also, I thought it would be useful as good research for False Swipe gaming writing. You know, it's kind of important. And also, to take a more active participation in it rather than just, looking it up when I need to. It's much more easy this way. And also because I am a great lover of drama, from Dostoevsky to Sex and the City, which my lady has put me onto. And I was watching it while doing some cooking today, and let me tell you, those ladies are scandalous. I'm a real Miranda, personally. I think, anyway. Yeah, and Gen 9 OU has no shortage of drama. As I learned when I tuned into the highly controversial Gouging Fire suspect. I think Gouging Fire is just such a great name anyway. Even if the physics of it minorly escape me, or maybe it's the English language purist in me. Either way, I was really intrigued because it was being led, or the debate was being led, number one, by a user named Daddy Buzzwole, which is always going to be hilarious. And I was just sad that Mommy Faramosa didn't participate in the discussion as well. And, of course, on the other hand, campaigning brutally against the Gouging Fire ban, the potential Gouging Fire ban, was none other than CTC, a dear friend of mine for over a decade now, and a constant source of inspiration in his own innovations both in and out of the Pokemon world. I remember, and this is a true story, in the spring of 2015, he, Cased Victory, and I were hanging out in New York, and I forget what prompted this, but he said for $10 I'll yell, followed by some shit that you probably shouldn't yell. And unfortunately, neither Case nor I had $10 because, capitalism. It's just such a... So there's the social critique for the video, life lesson, whatever. So you can feel good about absorbing this. And, I just never would have thought to put it like that. And thus, the other day, I found myself watching this Smogon Tor battle between Star Master and Solwyn, two all-time great players, across multiple generations, and I have no idea what their records or their achievements are in Generation 9, but I generally know what the Pokemon do. I can't say I understand what teams look like in terms of common combinations and builds and stuff like that, because it all kind of blends together. If I don't concentrate, I just see Great Tusks and other stuff, Goldengos and King Gambits, and a bunch of other Paradox stuff, like Roaring Moon, yeah, whatever. But I do know what the Pokemon individually does. I know that Samurott has Ceaseless Edge, which is an attacking spike that can miss. And I know Lando T is good again. And, so we've got... I vaguely know that people can run Suicide Spiking with Samurott. And, Glamora, too, that's also... So you have two of those Pokemon. So Star Master's team style, once you introduce heavy-duty boost in the equation, you kind of lose the grasp I have on competitive... the foundation for how I've viewed the game for so long. Gen 8 OU still makes sense to me largely, but in the chaos of all the new Pokemon, the min-maxers, just completely upending the way the game is played... it's taking me some time to find my footing. But Star's team is generally a style I can recognize. You got two Suicide Hazard setters, very aggressive, and then you've got a bunch of offensive monsters. And we see a Latios, and this is coming after I recently made a video about how I wish Latios would get used more. Admittedly, when I made that video, I did not know that Specs doesn't boost Future Sight if you're not on the field at the same time as the Future Sight going off. But I did learn that if you... So thank you to the comments for that. And also thank you to the comments for saying if you have a Specs Pokemon on the field at the time Future Sight goes off, it gets the boost. So if I were to make a Gen 8 OU team, I would definitely be pairing Slowking with some Specs stuff. So yeah, you got Samurott and Glamora littering the field with hazards. I mean, those T-Spikes aren't going to do anything because of Galarian Slowking. And, the Glamora's not even going to get an attack off, but... Even gets its red card knocked off. And that's interesting because if that spin went off, then the red card would have kicked up T-Spikes, and then maybe Kyurem would have been, or Dragapult would have been poisoned if they had been dragged in before Glowking had a chance to absorb them. But yeah, I then see Latios come in. I'm like, yeah, this Latios is going to do something awesome. And I see it Calm Mind. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then it uses Psychic Noise, which is an awesome move. I know it's basically a heal block, even though it's not that strong, but it gets T-Waved. I don't know if that's standard or not, but now Heatran's going to switch into it. And it's going to Magma beat the Latios one-on-one if there's no Surf, and it doesn't look like there is. So, I mean, the Psychic Noise is preventing Lefty's healing, but it's not doing much more than... Oh, it even has Taunt, so it can't recover. I was like, this is a Suicide offense team. You're not going to have Recover on that, are you? But I guess it's just Calm Mind, Recover, Stabs. I don't know what Terra type it is, and I assume if it's Terra Steel or something that it can just completely take over the game, because the idea of Terra Steel Lottie is just so monstrous. But yeah, a few hit Magma Storms later, it goes down, and in comes Samurott again on Protect. Protect blocking spikes is hilarious. And, God, what a beast Samurott is. So in comes Kyurem, not packing boots, into the Hydro, in case, because Star said, I will not let Heatran stay in. I want to set up something else, whether that's Goldengo or Volcarona, with Heatran chipped, and to guarantee Heatran stays at the health it's at, you Hydro there, regardless of if something else comes in. Because I guess you could have theoretically knocked it off, and, kept it at that low health. But, yeah, I guess you didn't want to risk Zamazenta having to close combat it and picking up Flame Body. And Zamazenta is, of course, I had my eye on it, and I got to thinking about what the subject of this video really is. But this is the video that really, the battle that really got me there. One step at a time, of course. So in comes Volcarona, and it's Terra Blasting without Terra Stylizing, and there's a missed Magma Storm. And, yeah, there's another missed Magma Storm. I mean, I know it hit a bunch on the Latios, but, yeah, now in comes a Protect on Terra Blast, and there's Morning Sun, and another missed Magma Storm. And it's running out of PP, and, yeah, it's going to Taunt, but... It's a very straight, and there's another missed Magma Storm, so I guess the other lesson of this video is don't use Magma Storm because its accuracy is bad. Magma Lava Plume, that was a set in Gen 7, a good set too. And yeah, you hit that early Magma Storm, this is not going to be a thing. But yeah, now it's Taunted, and Magma are going to get worn down. We don't need to go through the minutia of this. Because Heatran is so bulky. It's so nice to see Spidef Heatran still doing things like this, even out of Magma Storm PP against something like Volcarona. And Star's saving that Terra for something that can really use it. And, okay, here comes the star of the show, Zamazenta. Iron defensing against a Heatran, and it's going to spam Body Press now. And... as far as I know, I think I might have seen one person say, oh, maybe Zamazenta's a little much. Maybe. I don't even know if I'm remembering that correctly or not. But I don't think anyone is going to make a serious case that Zamazenta is overbearing, right? And because Black and White is currently in a state of controversy, which involves dropping Ubers, I was wondering, well, I know Zamazenta is not going to be considered broken, as it just crunches its way through the fighting resists, and the body press obviously means it dominates Tusk one-on-one. So there's that. But yeah, what really makes it interesting is that this is not the only form of Zamazenta, of course. And so I started looking at Zamazenta-Crowned, and I was wondering, would this be broken? And if we just compare the two of them stats-wise, I mean, Zamazenta it gets to hold items, which is kind of huge. You know, the hazard immune boots, the leftovers on bulkier sets, and I'm by no means an expert, by the way, so I assume it can run other sets. I think I've seen games, I've definitely seen tournament games with choice band Zamazenta before. I don't know if that's outdated from a previous DLC or not, and I'm sure you could run a million other things on it if you really wanted to. But yeah, you know, just general all-purpose items. Boots, lefties, CB, whatever you like. Whereas Crowned, I guess the argument is about whether or not it's broken. Not just whether or not it's broken, but whether or not you'd even use it over base Zamazenta is, does changing its typing and becoming bulkier justify the fact that it basically doesn't have an item? Because Rusted Shield in Gen 9 only boosts that defense by one stage the first time it switches in. So the first time, yes, it's going to have a boosted defense stat, and it'll be very difficult to break through it on the physical side, you know, even before its huge speed and iron defense. But you're not going to be breaking through it physically most of the time anyway, I imagine. So I don't know, I feel like that might be overkill almost. And after that, you do not have an item anymore. So the question is, do you basically treat Rusted Shield like a Mega Stone and enjoy the benefits of having Mega Cobalion? Because, I mean, I guess the question before you start figuring out, oh, well, which Zamazenta do you use, is would Zamazenta-Crowned be broken? And I don't know that it would. Now, when I say this, please do not hear this as me trying to make some sort of authoritative statement on the Gen 9 OU tier, and instead take it more as an inquiry from an interested party who, you know, enjoys drama, enjoys good Pokemon, enjoys seeing metagames get shaken up, especially at times, you know, like the current gen when they should be shaken up. So, yeah, hang on, let me just check okay. I just wanted to check what number that exactly translates to, the base 138 into an actual speed stat. So, yeah, the differences between the two are, well, they're not stronger, or Crown is not stronger. You know, its attack is still unimpressive. And honestly, seeing Zamazenta's, or base Zamazenta's stats really makes me think, I wonder if this would really be busted in Gen 8 OU, which is a tier I'm not an expert in, but, you know, I have experience in and understand better. And I really have a difficult, actually, yeah, I don't know, Dauntless Shield, I guess in Gen 5, what am I talking Gen 5? Sorry, I just tried to say 16 things at the same time. Okay, and I also just messed up what Rusted Crown does. I thought Rusted Crown was the one that changed. Rusted Crown is literally just the Mega Stone. Okay, so for some reason I was like, yeah, but what does its ability do then? So, again, do not take what I'm saying here seriously. Instead, I am inviting the people who actually understand the tier to weigh in, you know, and contribute to a dialogue, to discourse. I love discourse. I'm genuinely afraid that the art of discourse is disappearing from the public sphere. Yeah, more social commentary. That's not a joke either. I really mean that. But yeah, there is. So, do you basically use the Mega Stone or not? Anyway, and in Gen 9, Dauntless Shield is only boosting the defense stat once. I even overlooked that in the actual game that it was used in. Good lord. So, that goof aside, in Gen 8, I guess Dauntless Shield boosts its defense. Did it get a... Oh my god, it got a stat nerf. Okay, maybe this would be a little dumber than I initially gave it credit for. Dauntless Shield boosts its defense every time, and it has 130 attack. I mean, I don't know that really makes that much of a difference. Maybe it should be tried. I think it would be interesting anyway. I can't imagine it like completely shattering the metagame. Maybe it wouldn't be the most healthy thing in the world, but I can't see it really completely disrupting what's going on. Anyway, so Zamazenta in its current form, totally fine. So basically, with Crowned, you're asking yourself, is this Mega Cobalion good for the tier? And, okay, those defenses are really nice, and the fighting steel typing is obviously amazing. And the fact is, okay, no, it can't run boots to not step on hazards, but, it's also got a toxic immunity. You're not afraid of T-spikes or, getting toxic in general. And the lower speed, I checked the OU speed tiers, and I don't believe it's missing out on anything. I mean, maybe it can't outspeed certain things at +1, but to my knowledge, again, I will let the experts sit in on this because I don't have enough knowledge about how the interactions of the tier work anyway. Like, for example, if it were to outspeed a certain thing at +1 as base Zamazenta and not Crowned, it's like, well, do you use that to check this anyway? But what I would like to focus on, what I can speak on more, is the fact that steel typing, I mean, it's going to... It's a double-edged sword, of course, haha, because it's a shield. But it's also interesting because, yes, you will no longer be weak to fairy, and that's kind of big. But you also become weak to fighting. So, oh, well, you don't get OHKO'd by Iron Valiant's Moonblast anymore, and you're bulkier on both sides. It's like, yeah, but you are weak to its fighting stab now. And another big thing is, you are slower than other Zamazenta, or base Zamazenta. So, and that fighting weakness becomes more significant. And, I mean, of course, the deal with hitting it with physical attacks is going to be tricky either way, because of Dauntless Shield, well, the first time anyway, but because of Iron Defense and the huge bulk and body press and all that. But it's going to be tough either way. And, picking up that extra weakness to fighting, ground, and fire, I mean, I don't think you're going to be checking gouging fire with this, so, and whereas base Zamazenta obviously has much more of a shot at it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak to the intimate details of how it would function in the tier, but I was just glancing at OU and looking through some more games, and I was thinking, this does not feel like a truly broken Pokemon. I mean, okay, maybe it is. Maybe I am just completely out of my mind and out of my depth, and this is totally laughable, in which case, please do let me know. I love comments. They engage the algorithm, which... it's not fun to be subservient to, but, yeah. But I don't know, it's, some people complain about Kyurem, I've noticed, and I can't imagine that extra steel typing would hurt against it. Because it's not like it's going to become overbearing either. You would help against Raging Bolt, for example. And Moon, I mean, you're no longer weak to those acrobatics roaring moon sets. I don't know, I can't speak too authoritatively on this, but yeah, I mean, you're more scared of Volcarona, and if you start terastallizing with it, then, and just having one type, it's like, well, why are you Terra-ing this Pokemon who you're putting on the Megastone, functional Megastone, pretty much to have its typing. So do you really Terra with this thing, So I can't see it becoming a particularly obnoxious Terra user not more so than something like Volcarona, for example, which is controversial. So, yeah, I mean, you even become more vulnerable to something like Walking Wake and its fire moves. I don't know. It's that's pretty much the extent of what I can contribute on this. I really just wanted to raise the idea and kick some funny jokes around, and announce that I am, in fact, somewhat interested in this tier. Oh, Iron Maw. There's another thing where, it's not like so you have a lot of these cases where the fighting typing is still going to be good, but the steel typing isn't really helping you offensively. I mean, okay, against fairy types, then yes, it does become very nice to have steel stab that you can threaten them with. Fighting steel is a good dual stab combination for that reason. But I don't know. I can't see it. It also doesn't help with the fire end of things, which suddenly is a weakness you are going to have. Or the fighting weakness, or the suddenly you are getting hit a lot harder by Great Tusk. Because I mean, you look back at this game of Star versus Soulwind, and Zamazenta just completely dominates Great Tusk. Now, okay, I'm not saying that Great Tusk is an answer or a counter to Crowned. And not fully anyway, because you get that thing set up with a body press late game, and Tusk is not taking that, or it was set up in Iron Defense, sorry, and then Tusk is not taking that body press very well. But the fact is, you do not enjoy, especially if it rapid spins to boost its speed, then it's not like you can act as a check to Tusk, I think. So it does change that dynamic as well. So yes, it has a lot of advantages, but a lot of disadvantages to go with it as well. So that's about it. And the lowered speed, because, I guess it puts on the shield so it's slower. The lowered speed, I think, the most obvious example is its worsened matchup against opposing Zamazenta, but yeah. So that's about it. I hope some Gen 9 experts chime in, and I'm looking forward to where this goes. So thank you so much for watching / listening, and I will see you in the next one.